All right, guys. So today, since I'm not in class to go over this with you, I wanted to make sure I did a recording so that you kind of have the basic outline of what you're doing with the virtual lab and also hopefully answer any questions about how to actually use the simulation and what you're doing with the graphs. So you should have received a handout that looks like this. This is where you're putting all of your answers. This is what I'll be collecting on not Thursday, because I won't see you on Thursday, but the following Monday. But that doesn't mean you get until Monday to do it. Okay, it is expected that you have this lab done today. Okay, so if you click on the link, it's going to take you to something that looks like this. You may have to, you may see like the little puzzle piece here, and you have to click the add on it and give it, and allow it to actually let it run on your computer. So if that comes up, just click on the puzzle piece, click allow, and then you should see the virtual lab. All of the answers that you need for the pre-lab questions, so questions 1 through 5, they are going to show up here on the left-hand side of your screen. So this is all the introductory information. When it asks you about the purpose of the lab, this is it right here in this question. And so you want to write it out in sentence format rather than question format. So what we're doing in this lab is we're looking at how different colors of light affect plant growth. So remember we talked about white light being made up of all of the colors of light. So red, orange, green, yellow, blue, indigo, violet. What if we were to subject plants to each one of those colored lights, we're going to see, does one of those colors actually help them grow better, and which color helps them actually grow the least? So you have 3 different plant types here. And you also have kind of 2 divisions of your setup. So you can actually run 2 experiments at the same time. Down at the bottom, this will allow you, let me turn off my audio first. This will allow you to change the color of light that you're growing your plant in. And you can change them separately. So like I said, you can run 2 experiments at a time. Okay. So if we go back to your lab handout, make sure you answer the pre-lab questions. Also, look at the objectives. So we're designing an experiment that is going to test which colors of the light spectrum are better for photosynthesis. They are better at making glucose or better at making the plants grow. And then we're going to measure those heights of the plants, and we're going to figure it out. We're going to put them into a table, and we're also going to graph them. At the very beginning, it's going to ask you to click the video button and watch the animation. So the video button is here. It's a really short video. I think it's even under a minute. And really, it's going to talk about the wavelengths of light. So just summarize, like, what did you learn from the video? Question 2 is really important. And you must have question 2 done before you continue on with the experiment. So it's asking you to create a hypothesis about which color in the visible light spectrum is going to cause the plants to grow the most, and which color is going to cause the plants to grow the least. So you should have 2 statements here. Like, if our plants are grown under this color light, they will grow the most. If they're under this color light, then they will grow the least. And we're assuming that all other conditions are the same. So the soil is the same, the moisture is the same, the viability of the seed, which means that your seed is going to live and it's going to grow, is the same. So these hypotheses need to be written before you start. Now, if you go to step 3, it's going to give you the instructions for completing the lab, or the step-by-step directions. That's what I want to go over with you. But if you look at your data table, I think that will help you understand a little bit more as we go through the simulation. So essentially we have 3 plant types, so spinach, radish, and lettuce, and we're going to subject those plants to red light, orange light, green light, blue light, and violet light to see which one helps the plant grow the most and which one helps the plant grow the least. So if we go back to our simulation, if I wanted to start with spinach, I could click spinach. It's going to put spinach on both sides. Okay, so you're going to run 2 spinach at the same time. For this one, I'm going to let it stay red because red is the first color we need. And then I'm going to set this one to orange. I'm going to flick the switch, and you can see that time is elapsing. So we let these plants virtually grow for 30 days. Now I need to measure them so that I can get an average height. I don't want to write down just each height. I want to average them out because you can see like this one grew a lot taller than these 2. This one was a lot shorter than the other 2. So I want an average height. So when you click on the ruler, the ruler will automatically be set for you, so you can't move it up and down so that your measurements are consistent. And then you're just going to move it to each plant and read it as close as you can. So this one is not quite 16 and a half, so I'm going to say that it's 16. This one looks like it's about 22. And this one looks like it's about, there's 16, 17, about 18 and a half. So like I said, I want the average. So I'm going to take 16 plus 22 plus, what did we say? 17 and a half. Oops, that's definitely not it. So 16 plus 22 plus 17.5. And then I'm going to divide that by 3 in order to get the average. And 18.5 is what I would write here for the average height of spinach grown under red light. So 18.5. Okay. So you're going to do that for each plant type. So under orange light, under green light, under blue light, under violet light, then do radish and lettuce. So remember, you can grow, you can test 2 colors at a time. So I could go over here and get all of my orange measurements. And then once you're done with that, you're going to create a graph. And this is very similar to the graphs that we created on our last virtual lab, where we had several different lines being graphed on the same axes. So this is just an example. These are just numbers I made up. But along your X, I want you to have the different colors of light. So red, orange, green, blue, and violet. And then on your Y is where you're going to have your plant growth. And this should say in centimeters here. So make sure you scale them correctly. Draw the graph as large as you can on the graph paper that's being supplied for you. And so if we look at the bottom, there's also a key, which I would like you to include in your graph. So the key can be like this, where you have different different codes for your lines. So like this is the dash line, the radish should be dotted, and then our lettuce is our solid line. Or you can do different colors. If I would probably do different colors if it was my graph. So if we look at spinach, we're going to say like for red light, it grew to about 15 centimeters. And again, these numbers are made up. And so I would plot my first point. And then orange for spinach grew to about 20 centimeters in height. And so you would continue doing that for all of the spinach points, draw lines to connect them together, and then go ahead and start on the data for the radish. And so you'll have 3 different lines on your graph, either labeled or different colors or different line patterns, so that I can tell which line represents which plant type. Okay. After that, you have some post-lab questions to answer. I'd like you to answer these individually. So the first one is asking, was your hypothesis in fact supported? So were you correct, and why or why not? If you did, so it says if you conducted tests with more than one type of seed, you did. So you're going to explain the differences you found among the different types of seeds. So if we look back at this one, we can see in general, if for spinach, it grew much better in red light than in orange light, but that may not be true for radish. Radish could grow better at a different color than our spinach plants. And then you're going to talk about conclusions that you can draw. So things that you can come up with that can be explained by your data. And then question number 4 is requiring you to think a little bit. So if you were given that, if you were putting these plants under white light, which again contains all of the colors of light, what results would you expect to get? So I hope that helps you understand what you're doing in the lab. It's pretty simple, but the ideas are important. And will also be fair game for your quiz and your exam. So please work through this individually. If you have questions, please ask the sub. I'm going to leave a key with them. But hopefully the video helps you understand what you're doing. If you have questions, you can email me. I should have access to my email both Tuesday and Thursday. So please feel free to do that, or come in and see me on Wednesday and I can help walk you through the lab. You are supposed to get this whole lab done in class today. So that means pre-lab questions, data table, graph, and post-lab questions. I'm going to ask the sub to sign your lab once it's completed. And that's the only way you'll get full credit, is if the entire lab is done today and you have completed all the sections. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.